Welcome to What She Does, the podcast that takes you inside the working lives of everyday women shaping the world around us. I'm Leanne Starr.
And I'm Annie Sinzinger. And each week, we sit down with someone who shows us not just what she does, but how and why she does it. Plus, find out if you fit the same mold to grab the same type of gig. Let's discover
What She Does, starting now.
She started in entertainment journalism at Variety and The Hollywood Reporter, then philanthropy, then environmental advocacy. Now she leads content at a top liberal arts college. Anne Bergman's career has never gone in a straight line, and she says that's exactly the point. In this episode, we're talking storytelling, pivots, and what it really means to build a career that grows with your life.
Today we're talking to Anne Bergman, who is a content creator editor, I think. Maybe?
That's right.
Is that right? Can you tell me a little bit about that, what that entails?
Sure. So I work for a small liberal arts college called Claremont McKenna College, and I write stories for their homepage. And those stories get shared on social media, various platforms. And we also put them in our newsletter, and we have an alumni magazine. So all of the content kind of gets sliced and diced in different ways. We'll have longer features, more complex, multi-source, versus like short event coverage or profiles of students who've won a Rhodes Scholarship or faculty who are doing really interesting research.
And we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but can you talk about all of the places that you have worked? It's an
Sure.
interesting list.
Yeah, so I started off in LA working at USC. So I worked as an admin in the cinema department and with a professor who had been my professor at UC Santa Barbara. I was a film major at UC Santa Barbara. And he brought me in, and I realized that I could get free tuition by working there. I could get a free class. So I started taking classes for free there. So I took a criticism class with Howard Rosenberg, who is a Pulitzer Prize winning columnist at the LA Times. And from there, I decided maybe I do want to be a writer. And I applied to get into their journalism school, and miraculously, I got in. And from there, I got internships because I had a film background. I got internships at the Hollywood Reporter and Variety and the LA Times. And from there, I just started meeting people. And so I think my first full-time journalism job was at Variety as an editor in special issues. And then I went to the Hollywood Reporter and did the same thing. And then I came back to Variety and worked on a magazine that they had for post-production. They had a post-production magazine. And so I was the managing editor of that for a bit. And then I just started to realize that it kind of didn't align with my values. The entertainment industry, it's fine, but I just felt like the same thing kind of over and over. So I got a job with the California Community Foundation, which is a huge philanthropic organization in downtown Los Angeles. And I love being in LA, downtown LA. I loved telling stories, writing about these amazing nonprofits that we were giving grants to. I got to meet philanthropists. And so that really jazzed me up. Like this was great for me. Like I aligned with my values. But then I had children. So I left the workplace, the full-time workplace, and was a freelancer for a while. And then I ended up at Heal the Bay, which is another smaller nonprofit. And that also aligned with my values as well. Like clean water was really important. I had young children. We were going to the ocean, wanted to make sure they were safe when they went in, didn't get exposed to pollutants. And it was something I really cared about. And then they downsized. I got downsized and had to kind of calibrate where I was doing and where I was going, and ended up back at USC as a freelancer, as a contractor. doing work for different schools. So, like the School of Business, the Annenberg School of Communication. So, I did some media relations and a lot of writing. And also, I was volunteering as a social media communications person for a little nonprofit that some friends of mine had started to get families to volunteer together. And I just felt like, well, this is a good opportunity for me to learn something. I'm not getting paid, but I'm learning a new skill. So that's how I started doing social media. So I'm like probably one of the oldest people I know who does that. But it is part of my job to produce content for social media. So that was something I felt like it just kind of added to my quiver of skills. It's because it's all transferable, like all the writing and editing that we do is transferable to that space. And then from there, I just ended up at CMC just through another colleague. So that's it.
That's good. But I was wondering, one of the things that you touched on is you became a mom. And can you
Hmm.
talk a lot how I mean, you became a freelancer after that,
Yep.
but talking about how difficult it is to juggle the demands of your job with kids.
Yeah. It was really multitasking constantly. And you just feel that you're never really kind of doing 100%. You're giving maybe a third of your attention here and a third of your attention there and a third of your attention. Because I also had parents who were elderly. So I felt, and they were, going through some serious health issues. So just felt like I just was constantly, on my computer, either figuring out how to care for my kid or figuring out how to care for my mom or working. And it was a lot. Um, and so, I was the mom who kind of would skid in like at the like 2 minutes after the pickup deadline, and my daughter would be sitting there by herself, like in the preschool classroom. And I'd just be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, honey. I hit traffic. I just felt like I was constantly kind of apologizing for not being 100% in each of these spaces.
Oh, yeah, I have had that experience of sliding in and everyone has left and your kid is staring forward and has been crying. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
I I feel that
But
pain.
but we have to work. Like that's how we eat and have a roof over our heads. And it wasn't like I was doing it for the heck of it. Like I was working because, we need me to work. So,
And then one of the other things we were talking about, today was about what do you have to do to get promoted in your job?
hmm, this is probably the first place I've ever been promoted. So, I think willing to say yes to when someone asks you if you can help with something. You say sure, and then maybe you don't quite know how to do it, but you go and you figure out how to do it. Um, and maybe you have some follow-up questions and kind of keep that dialogue going. Um, and then there was some changes in our who was in charge of our department. And so I just realized, wow, there's like a gap here. Maybe I can step in. And I just brought it up and said I was interested. And I had hesitated to take on more responsibility because of all the demands on my time outside of work. And I just didn't feel like it was fair to my work, to my employer, to CMC, to not be what I felt was 100%. But then circumstances changed and my kids were older and I had a little bit more time. So I realized that I could. And all of a sudden it just kind of opened up for me that this was a possibility. And luckily I work for very, uh, amazing people who listened to me and were like, hey, we could use you to do this, more of this, and maybe less of this other thing you've been doing. And so it's it's kind of like an expansion of things that I was already doing. So,
So you created your own promotion, it sounds like.
kind of. I mean, I think I think that like some things changed and I just took advantage of it.
And then what does burnout feel like to you?
Like, I think I'm pretty fortunate that I haven't really had burnout, like, felt definitely squeezed, and when I've had employers who weren't understanding of things that were happening in my life, not at CMC, this was not at CMC, this was at another workplace, and just to have that extra stress of, "Why are you taking time off to move your child into college dorm?" Like, "What? Why would you do that?" Like, just so sometimes, you need to take a beat and just say, "Well, this is something that's really important. My kid is never gonna have another first day at college. I wanna be part of it." And so you kinda have to not listen to those negative voices that could, I think, make you feel burnt out, make you feel that way. Takes a lot of, I don't know what the word is, but, focus, I guess, on what is important. And I realized that this supervisor just didn't have kids. She probably didn't understand what a big moment this was.
Yeah, that is a big moment. I would think anyone would realize that, but I guess if
It's
you're
weird
laser
how you
focused.
feel pressure. Yeah, sometimes you feel pressure about things that you've like, and you can internalize it. Like, you can think, "Wow, am I not as committed as I thought I was?" But it's not related to that. And now I work for people who get it, and it's like, of course you would do that. Of course you would want to take time to move your daughter into school or your son or, you know, so
Well, that's good. And then I was also going to ask you, it seems like journalism, I think it's lots of women, but have you had any pushback of being a woman in your field
I
or
don't
had
think
a
so.
male supervisor who's no?
No. No, I feel the men mostly I've worked with have been amazing and have helped me in my career. And I've never and I know it happens. I mean, I know I did have one boss who was like a serial sexual harasser, but but that was a long time ago. And I just feel like that was before Me Too. That was before um, all these things have been coming out. So for the most part, like the men I've worked with have been incredibly supportive. And in fact, I kind of have a little theory about that. I call it the Lilith Fair generation. I feel like a lot of men, my husband included, why wouldn't women be in the workbook? I don't, like, I don't think it's as big a deal for from at least my generation. And I think a lot of the subsequent younger people I work with, I don't sense that at all.
That's a relief. um, can you also tell me a little bit about like what is one day in your life like?
I think you start off the day just figuring out what's happening, like news has broken over while you were occupied sleeping or, first thing, and just trying to stay on top of that and those narratives. I think it's more challenging now, but I am also what I do, I have to be aware of what's going on in the world. So, if I have a professor who's knows how to understand Venezuelan geopolitics, then I'm gonna be like, "Wow, we really need to reach out to this professor and see today if maybe we can do a short interview and we can help people understand what's happening." So I guess in that sense, so each day is different, which is what I really like about my job. So we do serious stories and we do have to be on top of it. And then news could break, like we could get a Rhodes Scholar announcement that we weren't expecting, that kind of thing. And so just being prepared to maybe be more flexible in your day. Like you think you're going to be having a certain day and then something happens and you're not. So just a matter of just being ready for that.
Do you check
And
your phone first thing in the morning?
Not first thing.
Toast? You have
so
But
coffee and
close,
then you
yes.
check?
And I still get the newspaper.
What? No. Really?
I do, and I read it, and I
Wow.
So,
get
Anne,
magazines, and I read them.
I I wanted to kinda touch on that. It was kinda interesting hearing you talk about having to locate an expert within the university or the college to be able to talk
Mm.
about very relevant topical things. I imagine that your role also has to meet certain, university or college objectives as well. Can you talk a little bit about how your job kinda supports some of that?
Yeah, for sure. So um the college has a very clear mission, and is prepare young people for roles in responsible leadership. So it's longer, I'm basically boiling it down, but it's basically so it's soft skills and hard skills, right? Like, so responsible leadership, that can apply to so many different scenarios. And so we feel that we are preparing these young people to go out, whether it's to further law school or whether it's to get a job as in a corporation or to become a doctor, that they have like um, an ethical thread that they can follow, that they got at CMC. Like they, or they self-select to come. They know that this is the mission. So it's not like people just arrive and they're like, "What is this? Responsible leadership." I mean, it's baked in from the beginning, like from admission through their first day, their orientation activities, through their daily lives. It's a residential college, so that means they live there for 4 years, if they live on campus. And so there's a certain responsibility that comes with that, with sharing a community. And then, of course, what they're learning in the classroom, the kinds of opportunities they get. So, yeah, so what we do does have to link back to that. Like, it just is natural. Um, and then we emphasize very strongly constructive dialogue. So
Mm.
you're not getting into these heated, like, I don't know, one-sided, you're not feeling combated. So I'd feel like it's a luxury at the school where I'm working, where, viewpoint diversity, like, is encouraged, and I think and we have, an amazing speaker series where 4 nights a week, 4 evenings a week with full dinner, a speaker like Michael McFall will come, like, the former ambassador will come. And the students get a chance to sit with the speaker. No one else is allowed at the speaker table. No faculty, no donors, no president of the college. It's all students get to sit with the speaker before he speaks or she speaks and get to have ask them questions and have a conversation. So I just don't I feel like that is just such a gift to these students to be able to get that, and for me to be able to attend some of these and to cover them and to share that story with our community is very, gratifying.
And then I was just going to take this into a totally other direction.
Uh-huh.
Um, but do you think there's ageism within the industry?
I don't.
What? Really?
I
Okay.
don't.
Explain why.
There are 2 networks that have helped me the most in my career. The Trojan Network, USC, very powerful, and moms. So moms know that moms get the job done. Moms know that other moms can multitask. They may not finish their dinner while it's still warm, but they're going to, like, get the job done. They can handle it. They're gonna be able to screen out whatever this other distraction and get focus. Because you have a limited time. Either you have to pick up your kid or your kid's gonna wake up from their nap or they're gonna want something. You basically have maybe 20 minutes to get something done, like, if your kids are around. So I feel like that just trained me to get to I mean, it helped me. I mean, I'd already worked as a journalist when I had kids, but just to be able to meet a deadline, like, I've never really experienced that ageism, and I've been lucky enough to have been hired by other moms who were like, "Oh, yeah, I get that gap in your resume. I get that what you were doing, and, I get that you can do this job."
I guess the important thing is that there are women higher up the food chain who have been promoted.
Yeah, and men.
Men? Okay.
Yeah, I kind of wonder about that too because it's not maybe about, sex of the person, but, how do you find yourself the right sponsor, because
Mm,
that's a big topic now of finding sponsors to help you. Because we talked about promotion and stuff, and you said this is the first time you've been promoted in a job. But
mhm.
how do you go about finding sponsors to help you kind of improve upon your skill set? And then
Hmm.
beyond that, I think just being really in your corner to help you out as you evolve in your role.
There's such a difference from when I started off in a newsroom. I worked on the daily side at the Hollywood Reporter for a little bit, and she got called in, and she's like, "Bergman, get in here," and you'd like, "What's this lead?" And, versus having someone be like, "Hey, so I made some edits to your story. Why don't we go over them together?" And you can see where I'm trying to pull out, like, we need to emphasize the mission, for instance. We need to, here's where I think you could do that. Here, for having that kind of conversation and being receptive to it and not, I think to what your question is, being receptive to that constructive feedback has really benefited me, like, in working with people. I mean, it's just by chance that I work with people who are smarter than me and whom I respect, because it's harder when you don't respect the person who's giving you that kind of feedback. And but I really respect my colleagues from all aspects of our department, like, and we work in a multi-generational department. So there is sometimes, like, I'm pretty slow, like, on the tech stuff. Like, it takes me a lot longer to do a screenshot and, like, zip it and do it, like, get it formatted, like, these things. And but they're very patient with me, and I think they know that when they need something edited, like, if they need like a paragraph tightened up, or that they can come to me. It's like an ongoing conversation with them. But as far as sponsors go, I do think that r having respect for your peers and being able to take a beat and listen to what they're trying to tell you, um, to make your work better, if you can. And I think also just the understanding that learning in the workplace, I think that's why I like working in higher ed so much, is I'm always learning something. I'm
Mm,
curious how things work, or why did you wanna do this research, or why did you wanna, like, I just feel like it's, um, a good place for me in that way.
that's great.
Like, one of the things we try to share in our podcast about any role is what you believe the really important skill sets are to do the type of job you're doing, and then what future skill sets do you think are going to be needed to continue to do your job?
Yeah. I don't I think writing is, and being able to translate complex ideas into not simplistic, but easier to understand for a general audience, is a skill that I think you can constantly improve upon. I think reading helps with that. Reading and just writing all the time helps with that. Uh, as far as, like, new skill sets, we I do not use AI to help me write, but I do use it to record. So, I use it on my phone to record an event or an interview, and it will transcribe it for me, which is just an amazing, it's helped me out so much, like, just to have that, and then do an outline of the conversation or an outline of the event helps too, and save me a lot of time. So I think being, not just shutting down, like, "Oh, AI, oh," not shutting down, like, just having a fear of it, but embracing how it can make you more efficient. Like, it's made me, I think I was able to do a third more than I was doing before, as far as output. And so and then as far as other skills, I think we can always learn more. I mean, I was a film major. I'm not a great photographer, but I can do it. and I can edit pictures and a little bit of video, and but probably if I really was a little bit younger, I would probably be more focused on that aspect, more video and audio content.
And then do you have, like, any advice you'd give your younger self?
Hmm. Hmm. I think just I think we all think that your career is gonna go a certain way, and it's gonna have, like, an A, B, C, D. It doesn't. It You can just end up, uh I thought I was gonna be an entertainment journalist for a really long time. I didn't think that I would all of a sudden look around and be like, "Ugh, like, I don't care about this. This is like." I think just listening to yourself, maybe I guess that would be the advice I would give my younger self is listen to that voice that is telling you that you're maybe time to switch it up a little bit.
And then the last thing I guess I would ask you is, for somebody who both wants to enter into what you're doing now
Mhm.
or wants to career pivot, what would you wanna tell them?
This may not be a popular opinion. I think sometimes you have to start a little lower than where you were. It's humbling. I had to when I went to Heal the Bay, I had to take like a third of like 2/3 of a pay cut to do that, but I had to do it. Like I had to because I had family and I didn't know if I was gonna get another opportunity, and also I really admired the mission of that organization. So, sometimes you do have to make a little bit of a sacrifice, or at least maybe men don't, I don't know. At least I did. Maybe men don't have to do that, but I felt like I had to, and ended up being a good choice because I ended up learning a lot and I got paid to learn, and that was really amazing. So even though it didn't end the way I had wanted it to, being downsized, and part of that was really unpleasant, but knowing that I still had skills, I had learned some skills in that work environment and had met some amazing people, so that really helped.
And then I was actually going to ask, and I should have asked this earlier, but has is there a moment in your career that you consider the highlight, like the best
Mm,
moment?
I wish I had started at CMC sooner,
Okay.
earlier, because everyone there I mean, they really care about their staff and the students, of course, but, it's the first place I felt that they really truly cared about the people who work there, and, like, like I said, it's the first place I ever got promoted, first place I was able to say, "Hey, I think I could do that," and have someone say, "Yeah, I think you could too," Um, and not just be like, "Oh, I don't know, hmm," but, yeah, so I kinda wish and I tell the young people that I work with, because we work with some very young people who are like my kids' ages, "This is a pretty amazing workplace," and the fact that you get to start off here with a understanding boss and someone who's letting you be creative, getting your job done, but also maybe taking some chances that maybe you wouldn't be able to take in another environment. I encourage you to try and find ways to work your way up here, or don't settle for like, if you're gonna switch workplaces, don't settle for somewhere that's worse than here. Like, this is, like, a good place to aspire to be. As far as, like, getting this type of job, I don't think I really answered that. Uh, there are opportunities, like, I know at our college and across we are part of a consortium. There are 4 other colleges that we're part of, and I know they have content creator opportunities that come up. Just being able p maybe follow those and maybe apply. You know how sometimes these jobs, though, have, like, a long list of things, like, they expect you to be able to do? Maybe you don't hit all 12, but maybe you hit 10 out of 12. I would still encourage you to apply.
Great.
So,
And then the flip side of that, and it wouldn't be this job, but previous jobs, what was the worst moment for you?
The
No?
pandemic was not good. One of the places I haven't mentioned, I worked for a senior living facility for a year when the pandemic hit, and they still expected us to come in every day.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So, that
I
was
would think
hard.
that would be dangerous for the people who were
Yeah, it
there.
was not very well thought out. So there was that. Uh, Being downsized at Heal the Bay was, like, a big disappointment, because I felt like we were a family, which I think now I would, like, shudder when but but that was disappointing, and I know it was a hard decision to make, but it was disappointing because I really thought, like, I thought, "This is it. I'm gonna be working in water quality for the rest of my career. This is gonna be it." And then it wasn't. So it just was a matter of pivoting and kinda licking your wounds, and you gotta keep going when you got a family to support, you know? So,
Well, so I feel bad ending on a sort of a downer
yeah, low light.
right? But, but it's been great having you, Anne, and thank you
Mm,
so much for being on our little podcast.
I hope it was good.
Yes, it was
Yeah, I
good.
think, I mean, everyone's job has its high points and low points, and a career being a series of jobs also spotlights those moments. So I
Mhm.
really appreciate you taking the time to kind of share your career story, but also like what you do currently and providing some really great feedback for anyone who's interested in following in your footsteps. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It was an honor to be included. Excited for you guys. To wanna hear more women being interviewed.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, there will be more.
Yeah. So Anne is a director of content, or can
Yes.
be known as a content director. But I think the easiest way, just for people to understand, is that it's just you're a person who oversees a creative team
Mhm.
that develops all types of storytelling on behalf of a company or, in her case, a college. So I think it requires a lot of development where you do strategy, so you figure out what you need to talk about. You lead a team of people who are all gonna do different parts. So I I thought she has a really fun job, actually. I
Yeah,
sorta
and
liked her job.
yeah, and we could do that, because you only need a bachelor's degree and 10 years of experience in
Yeah,
marketing.
I mean, basically, if you're in marketing, journalism, communications, or any other content related role, PR, like you could become a content director because it's a lot of storytelling. So
Right.
that's kind of a good like career pivot for some people.
Yeah,
And it's also a good job to aspire to because it's also a growing field.
yeah, and the salary is pretty good too.
Yeah, well, especially in California.
Yeah,
I was only able to really find the average salary in California, which is about 127,000 annually.
which is
That's
fine.
pretty good.
Yeah,
I
um,
mean, if
and
you're in
the
the entertainment industry, though, you can make more.
oh, yeah, but let's yes, if I was a movie star, I could make more. However, that's still a good salary. Um, but also it seems like there's also growth in this field, which is great
Yeah,
for any any field,
10% over the next several years.
which is
And
pretty good.
And mostly because everybody needs people to tell their stories, like anything from business, software as a service, lifestyle, media. I mean, there are a lot of places that people need content directors or content managers even to develop great stories that help sell products or services. So,
Yeah. Of course, we were talking about how, um, people who are just getting out of college cannot get jobs. So there's no one to fill these positions because they don't have any experience because they're not getting hired. However, if there's somebody who has these years of experience, this is a good place to go.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you're somebody who can be really creative in your storytelling, have really good project management skills, you have really strong critical thinking, and can handle a lot of different things at the same time, learn new digital tools, then it's a really great job for somebody who has that kind of breadth of skill set. So I would say if you're
Yeah.
somebody Yeah, if you're somebody who has a lot of curiosity and empathy, if you can think in narratives, not just tasks, and you thrive in a little bit of ambiguity, then
And you
you
don't,
could wind up in a good job as a content
yeah, and you
director.
don't have an aversion to deadlines.
Yes. 'Cause that could be a problem since things have to be out in a timely manner. And I particularly liked the fact that Anne has a chance to talk at a lot of different levels, working in a multi-generational office.
Yeah.
So she can tell stories that range anywhere from, like, research that the university is doing or the college is doing to student life stories. So you're really talking to a broad range of people. So knowing your audience is helpful too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but a great job. Thanks for joining us today. That's what she does, and maybe what you could do too. If you like what you heard, make sure you follow What She Does wherever you get your podcasts.